Hey Moonies, welcome to the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast. I'm your host, Victoria L. Johnson. I'm here with Kayla Marie, a digital marketing specialist who's currently the social media manager for Amazon Prime Video for fantasy, superhero, and sci-fi. She's worked on some of your favorite shows like The Boys and the latest Evangelion movie and more. She's also the co-host of Itu Banta Tambien, a podcast featuring and highlighting Latinx voices in pop culture and fandom, both on screen and on the page. And she's also the creator of the viral hashtag What Black Panther Means to Me. I am super excited to have her on the show. As you can tell, she's like super amazing and accomplished, and I'm really excited. Yeah. Hey, Kayla.
Oh my god, that makes me sound so much cooler than I actually am. I love that.
You are really cool. Like, I just listed things that you actually do. So,
It's like sometimes you go back and you hear it, be like, "Am I that cool?" And then like sometimes you're like, "Oh, that sounds really cool," and then you're like, "Oh, humble, humble, humble. Please be humble." But no, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
yeah, no, I totally get it. I get the same thing sometimes, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I did do that. I guess that was kind of cool. Like, all right, maybe I'm not horrible at everything I do.
Yeah, you go back and you look and you're like, "Huh, look at that. I did that." And then those are the days when you're feeling really shitty, and then you go back and you're like, "I did that. I did that thing." So yeah, fully
Yep,
there.
exactly. Well, going back to happier moments in our lives, what's your first memory of watching Sailor Moon?
Oh wow. I was super young. But I remember I was a military brat, so we moved all over the place. So TV, I like to tell people for me, TV, movies, just pop culture in general was like my thing that was always a constant, right? Because my life was always changing, always moving, and I could always go back to that. That was like what I could, like fantasy worlds. I could always kind of anchor myself in those. So for me, I think the first time I probably have been like 4 or 5. Um, and I just remember being like, oh, this is super cool. Like, oh, I love this. And they just seem really cool. They're like badass and they're in sparkly things. But I was a huge tomboy. So I was like really straddling the fence of like, oh, I love these sparkly things, but like also I love other things. So do I belong here? And um, I think what also helped that was that I was able to like immediately find my senshi that I related to. And I think that that really helped. So I def like desperately grabbed onto this is the one that I relate to. I love this. It's not too girly and I can be here. So something I'm really appreciative of.
Yeah. I totally get that. I think, yeah, just getting lost in different worlds. Also, I love when like I ask that question, people are like, "Oh man," like it just like goes off. This brain just goes like all the way back. But you mentioned like having a favorite character. Who was your favorite Sailor Scout or Senshi?
It was definitely Jupiter. I was just like, this is me. I was very tall and lanky for my age. Granted, like I'm now average. I am 5'5", and I will stand in that I'm tall in my own mind. Um,
Yeah.
but um, I think we we're the same in that she was definitely shy, but she's very strong and independent, and she's just super badass. And I immediately was like, that's the one, right? I have friends that will tell me that I remind them of another one, and I will give in to that. And I understand. The older I get, the more I'm like, oh, I love Jupiter. She's my favorite, but I definitely am like one other. So I just like I keep that in mind always. Like, oh, but I'm definitely like one of the other ones. Like I Jupiter was just it was the green. It wasn't super girly. She just seemed so strong. And then, as shy as she was and quiet at the beginning, she was just very sure of herself, and I liked that. Um, and of course, there were rumors about her, and she was new. She was the new kid, right? I immediately gravitated like, oh, like she had been moved around. She had gone to different schools, and apparently there were rumors about her. So I definitely related to that.
That makes sense. You said you were like an army brat, so I'm assuming that's like also like moving around a lot and dealing with a lot of like similar things.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's just like like one of the things I love the most was the plant aspect. I was very much so like, oh, I love plants. And I wanted to um, be able to find something that was about me that I loved and apply that to characters. I think we definitely, especially as Black fandom, we love that aspect of it. So I I was very happy to have her be what I related to, you know?
Yeah, I think that's so important. It's so cool when you have a character that you actually like, you like them and like you think they're cool, and then you like realize like, oh, we actually have things in common, and it's like actually like this, we're actually like low key the same. Like it's a really nice feeling.
Oh yeah. Um, it's just funny because, like I said, the older I've gotten, the more like people that are fans, they will absolutely tell me that I'm a Ray. I'm definitely a Mars. Um, I'm very, I'm straightforward. I'm no nonsense a lot of the time, and I want everyone to just like. I am one of those like I'm as sensitive as I am, but in like serious situations, I'm like, yeah, bottle those emotions, put those away. We don't need those right now. So I'm very much so like Usagi, get your shit together. Like that is very much so me. So I I try to keep that in mind that I believe in duality. So I'm definitely I've always identified with Jupiter, but very much my personality is very Ray.
That's so funny. I was gonna ask you that next, like who's the one people say you are more like, and that's so funny because I feel like you're so chill right now. Now I'm just like, when is the Sailor Mars gonna come out? But
It's I'm very much it's I think it's more so in like social situations, right? Ray is very much so like the calm and the level head. So
true.
I have situations like I'm the oldest too. I think that's also it. I'm the oldest child, so I'm used to having to keep my shit together. I can't freak out until everyone else has had their freak out, and then later in the dark of the night when it's time to like have a moment before bed, then I have my moment. But I'm very much so like it's done. We do what we got to do. Move past it, go through it, and be done. Um, so it is definitely part of my personality, and it's the old, like I said, the older I've gotten, it's really funny that more people that I meet that are Sailor Moon fans will be like, "Oh, that's interesting, Jupiter." I would definitely say Mars, and I'm like, "Great, thanks, guy."
That's so funny. Hey, it is what it is. I say on this podcast a lot that I would love to be Sailor Neptune because she like has her life together and is super cool. But I know deep down I'm an Usagi. Like I am just like all over the place and uh like love to nap, love to eat. So that is me, and I accept it.
I do,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. I like. I think everyone needs a little bit of Usagi, right? So
Yeah.
I'm definitely when people are telling people to the self care and take the time, we should do that, right? But also like have those moments where you just get to be Osagi. And I think you need that's what I've always loved about Sailor Moon is that yes, they've highlighted that there are different personalities in the friend group, but Usagi, everyone needs to have a little moment like that, and I think everyone needs to have a little Usagi in them. So there are times where I definitely I'm on a weekend and I'm like I'm gonna Sailor Moon, I'm gonna Usagi. I am absolutely going to eat in bed and maybe cry and whine, and that's okay. I think that is absolutely fine.
I completely agree, and I love that. Like, I'm gonna Sailor Moon this weekend. I am like want to coin that. Like, this is what's happening this weekend. I'm Sailor Mooning it.
Oh my god, I absolutely I say that be like, you know what? It's a Sailor Moon day. Instead of self care day, it's a Sailor Moon day. Like it's an Usagi day. I'm absolutely just going to order my favorite food and be like, oh, I'm gonna order hibachi, and I'm gonna eat hibachi in my room. And maybe we have mimosas at 3 in the afternoon, but who cares? And then we nap, and that's fine.
I love that. Yes, that is like my whole vibe. And yeah, I think you're right though. Like needing that balance because as much as like I love Usagi, but like I also like try not to procrastinate sometimes, and I try like to be on my shit. And so I think there is a part of me that's like maybe a little bit Ray or maybe a little bit maybe Ami. And so I think like it is good to have like a balance between the senshi.
Oh, for sure. I think, you know, everyone has in their friend group, they've got, a Neptune, they've got a Mars. You even have a, Uranus. I think that everyone has like a certain set of personalities from the Senshi, whether it be inner or outer, right? My super cool friends that I love that live their best lives on Instagram are definitely my outer Senshi friends, and I call them that. They know that I call them my outer Senshi friends. I'm like, look at you living your best life on vacation. I love that for you. Live your best life. But
Yeah.
I am I am an inner Senshi, and that um I think I can find balance within that core group, right? And I can find different aspects of each one within myself. Um, and those are the ones that we got to know first, right? So I think that that's also why we all like kind of gravitate to those. In a perfect world, I'd be Pluto. That's what I want.
Yes, Pluto also has it together.
I mean, you can't be the keeper of time and like not have
Right.
your
Yeah.
shit together. But there's that time of the month where I'm absolutely fucking Saturn, and I know that. And it's like I'm hell on wheels. I'm absolutely an agent of chaos. Call me Saturn all day long.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's just that thing, like you said, balance. Also, I'm starting to realize why you are totally like in this social media industry, like because you have all these like little gems you're dropping, and I'm like, oh my god, all of these need to be on a shirt because I now want to refer to my like core group of friends as inner senshi, and like all my friends who like I see every so often, but not often enough to call them like a core and to be my core group. Like I'm gonna call them my outer senshi. And then especially like my friend is like doing something like you said, like on vacation, or she got like a new promotion, or he got a new promotion. I'm gonna be like, you're an outer senshi right now. Like you're killing it. Like you're on your boss shit. Like
It's I love that. Like it's funny. Like when of course when the last crystal that landed on Netflix, and you go back and watch, and it's just like you see the outers living their best life in this fucking mansion, and you're like, huh, love them. I love this for them. I love that journey for them. Meanwhile the inners are like, what the hell? Help, please, help me. Like come.
what's going on?
And I think that's a lot of your core circle of friends. You're definitely leaning on that is absolutely your inner Senshi. Like you just know them. You can go to them. You can get feedback at any time at any point when you need it. And absolutely, you know, I, I honestly I adore them so because the the group has been able to span decades and still have a hold on fans that are my age. I'm 31, but like, and then bring a new generation, right? My niece, when she was like 1, I remember texting my sister. I'm like, by the way, she's about to watch Sailor Moon Crystal because it's on Hulu and you have me babysitting. Sorry, but not sorry. Introduction time. And I did that, and she like loves it, so she knows that we're gonna watch it when she comes over. And she goes and she finds I have a I have a skateboard deck that had the holographic Sailor Jupiter on it, and I've got my Funko Pops. Like I think I almost cried when I found my Sailor Jupiter Funko Pop because that's the hardest one to find. I had been looking forever, could not find it, and then finally found it. So like it's something that I've been able to keep with me and always been able to go back to as a reference. Um, and I do love that. So yeah, I absolutely think that you should name your group chats with your friends inner Senshis, and then like your main your group or your broader friends, you have like your outer Senshi, and everyone is just able to come in. And then there's the friends that you were super friends with in like high school, and then you just gravitated and they're just doing shit beyond the outer senshis. Like, oh, you know what, Sailor Stars, I love that. Thank you. You're just doing the damn thing, and I think that's what's so unique about this fandom in general.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, first off, yeah, I completely agree on like getting the younger generation in on this. Once my cousin used to watch Sailor Moon with me sometimes, my older cousin, and once she had a daughter, like that was like the one of the first gifts I got her. I got her like the DVD set, and I was just like, "This is happening. You're just gonna pass it on, and this is a thing." And then my brother had a daughter a few years ago, and I'm like, once she gets to like 4 or 5, like we're watching Sailor Moon. Like that's just happening. Like if I ever have to babysit, you already know what the plans are. Like that's just it. But yeah, I just love that outer senshi, inner senshi thing. I think, and I love like you throwing the Sailor Stars. Like yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's such a perfect like analogy because I always say like the outer senshi are like the big cousins, but I like the idea of like them also being like your broader friend group who are like you maybe not don't talk to them every day but like can like talk to them every few months or every like few weeks, and once you like get back together it's just like old times, but at the same time they're not your everyday friends. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. But yeah, we'll get into the social media part though, but I want to ask first, do you have any favorite episodes or moments from Sailor Moon?
Oh, that's really tough. Favorite moments from the show. That's a tough one because there's just like so many that are like distinct. I'm like trying to play back. Like, what's my favorite?
It is.
Honestly, Sailor V is probably one of my favorite storylines and like that discovery. Um, just because it was so cool to watch it play out because you knew, but like it also was just it was in world, it was super like in world, right? And I think that might have been what sparked like my creative and marketing side. It was just like, oh, they went super like they in world they've got this Sailor V. It's so meta, and I think that that entire moment and the building up of them meeting Venus was just so great. And like it really made the group feel whole, and I appreciated that. So like back again to the friend group thing and the inner senshis, like once they met Venus it just really felt like that core group. And I think that was something that really resonated with me because I was that military kid and I was making friends very fast and then turning around and leaving, very fast. So I really gravitated towards this group feeling whole and feeling like they had their core team and core group of people that they could depend on. So I'll always get excited to go back and watch the whole Sailor V of it all. That's like one of my favorite comforts. Like, okay, what am I gonna go watch? And be like, let's go back to Sailor V. I think that that entire arc was so well put together and so smart. I will always go back to that.
That's such a cool answer because I feel like it does feel like an arc of its own, even though it's not like an official, but like those series of episodes from when she shows up to like when I guess you kind of get more comfortable with her being on team and kind of learn more about her. And before you like realize that Serena is or Usagi is Princess Serenity, like it really is a nice run of getting to know this new character and like kind of like coming to this thing like, oh, the team is complete now. Like now what's gonna happen? Um, yeah, that's cool. I like that answer.
I'm glad because like I know it can be like it can be hokey to be like, oh, I like it was also just a nice discovery too. And then you start to meet other characters along the way, and then I know everyone loves Luna, but I love Artemis like so much. Like my heart. Like that is like I had to fight my husband and I did not win. We had a white cat and I was like, "Oh, Artemis." He's like, "No." I
Boo.
was like, I was like, "Dang it." I was like, "Listen, we get another gray cat that's all gray. Oh, bets are off. It's absolutely going to
Anna.
be Luna."
Oh, okay. That's so funny. What did end up being the cat's name?
But another anime name, like it was a white cat, and when we got him, he had this gray like stripe at the very top. He was pure white except for this little patch of gray, and I was like, "Oh, Ash," and he was like, "Oh, great." He was like, like Pokemon, and we were like, well, we could do that because the child is obsessed with Pokemon, but like Ash, like it looks like Ash. So like,
Mm.
okay, we landed there. I was like, I'll give you that.
Yeah, it feels like a good, like it has a practical meaning, but also like still anime related. The child relates. I feel like that's a good for all.
Yeah, we made a compromise. You know, I was like, listen, it's in the perfect spot to be Artemis, but he's like, I have no ties to Sailor Moon, so please give me something. And I was like, fair. I gave him that.
That's so funny. Also that kind of makes sense because I feel like Artemis is also like just like a no BS character. Like I feel like Luna can be a little bit more like motherly and like nice and like still like we'll get tell Usagi to like get it together, but I feel like Artemis is even more so just like what are you
That's why
doing?
him and Venus get along like so well. Like it's just like they know each other. They're so like soul tied, and I get it because they are both very much so like absolutely get your shit together, and I can see that.
Yeah, they're so in tune with each other and it's really cool how they're like best friends in a way. It's really
I
cute.
I love that for them.
Yeah, me too, me too. But one thing I love for you is that you are like killing it in the social media industry. But how did you get into the social media world?
Oh wow. So I am a child of the MySpace era. I was in high school during MySpace when it
Yes.
came out. Um
Same.
I was very big into it, but I also am a Xanga girl. So honestly, first thing I ever coded was a Xanga page, and started building social from there. And it just was a natural progression. And like then if I look back even further, it's like, oh, I was writing fan fiction on MSN hot rooms like everyone else like like was. So it's just like it's been a slow progression of like me getting into the social space because I was looking for an escape because I was that kid that moved around so much and I was always new. So I just liked something that let me um, be able to talk with, meet with people, and connect with people in a way where I didn't feel like I would lose that connection because I was going to move, right? Um,
Mhm.
so senior year of high school, went into um, doing MySpace, and then graduated and landed a role as intern A&R for Fueled by Ramen. So Paramore, uh, Fall Out Boy, Hush Sound, Panic at the Disco, Gym Class Heroes. That was me. I was like not the most glamorous social job. I literally was moving around top eights on band profiles.
I mean, that was very important back in the day, honestly. Your top eight was everything.
Oh, truly. It was definitely making sure that the top eights looked good and making sure that new bands were in there so people could discover them. And that was just like me dipping my toe in. So social really for me kicked off around that time. That was also around the time of Facebook and the early beginnings of Twitter, where while I was in college. And I just kind of jumped in the space. And I think for me, social started off as a coping mechanism. I love to make people laugh. I'm also just very blunt, and I'm very like I just kind of say what comes to mind as like a stream of consciousness, and I like being able to do that. I've gotten better about censoring myself because not, I always say everyone needs a group chat. Test it
Mhm.
out there first.
Yeah, definitely.
um, but I started getting in through there. Um, and I was doing working for conventions while I was doing the normal thing that you do during after graduating college and being an admin assistant. So you learn the business. So I worked in accounting and I was doing the finance part, but then I started getting really interested in communication and marketing, and I went to school for business. I majored in business communication with an minor in abnormal psych. And I love saying that to people and letting them know, be like, listen, during a work meeting, I am psychologically profiling you, so I know how to communicate with you. And I think that's what it is on social. You really do have to know the psychology of the people that you are working with and seeing their emotions and their tendencies so that you can actually market to them the correct way. And I'm always glad that I was able to pair those two. Um, and I started working for a few fan conventions and started working in the social space to promote panels and whatnot. And then it just naturally progressed. I went to a website that we don't talk about, and I was doing social for that. And it really blew up. And then that social fan site kind of fell apart. And I started doing it in my day job. I landed a role as the online marketing specialist for a company in CPG marketing. Um, so normally in CPG, you end up doing all roles by yourself. So I was social producer, I was social media manager, I was copywriter, I was writing like 12 blogs a month, I was handling the website, I was doing full campaigns, and it's just a lot. And social really was where my heart was, and so I just started working more and more in the social space as much as I could. 2018 was when the hashtag went viral for Black Panther, and it was just actually was just part of a campaign. We were want to do stuff around Black Panther, and I was inspired by my kid. I take inspiration for wherever I am, and it just happened to grow into that. But I think it also helped because I was just like trying to be authentic and be myself, and it allowed other people to feel that way. I always want, whenever I'm interacting with someone on social, I want them to feel comfortable, and I don't ever want to make them feel uncomfortable. And um, it just progressed. And then I went to work marketing for indie gaming, and the opportunity presented itself last year to work contract and freelance for Prime Video on a few big social campaigns, and it just evolved into this full time role at Prime Video where I get to work on the things that I love the most. I've been a nerd my entire life, super geeky and really out there. And it hasn't always been accepted, but I think there's been a really shift culturally in how we talk about fandom and genre. And being in this role is really kind of I'm just very grateful, and I'm very aware that this is something that doesn't always happen to people. They do not land exactly where they wanted. This is the role that I've always wanted. I've always wanted to be in a space where I can a make change, but then also work on things that I love. Like, I watched Neon Genesis when I was 5. Should not have been watching it, by the way, because that is very adult.
So many things we shouldn't have been watching when we were 5, but it's, we're here now. We made it. We're okay.
But, to now say I worked on the campaign for Evangelion is just insane to me. Knowing that I really identified with Shinji. I was like, we all have daddy issues, but like, it was just like, oh, we're sad. We're sad people, and it's okay to be sad. And it's okay to want to pull away from things that you don't think fit what you want to do, and you don't want to contribute to that. And to have worked on that campaign was just really full circle. I never thought I'd be in a position where I can work on the things that I love and get paid for it.
Yeah, that's such an important and such a cool thing. Like, obviously, like I said it before, but like, love this for you. Cause, like, I think we grow up like loving something. Like, we grew up loving anime and just thinking to like a point, like, oh, wow, I get to like make a living or like get paid for doing something I've always loved. It's just like a really cool thing to happen. Yeah, it's so cool. I love it. And then speaking of the hashtag, the what Black Panther means to me, um, what made you think of that? Like, what were you thinking at the time? And have you seen What If yet?
I'm actually saving What If to watch tonight because it is I might save it for tomorrow because I'm going to be really emotional when I watch it,
Same, yeah.
and I just know it's going to be tough because candidly I have not watched Black Panther since Chadwick Boseman passed. I went back and watched Infinity War, and I watched Endgame and was still a mess, right? And I watched um, Winter Soldier, and I just was like seeing him because he had a huge impact on me and my son, um, and that's where the inspiration really came from, is talking with my son, and he was getting really excited and like super hype about Black Panther, and he was just like, I was like, you like him? And he hadn't really been exposed that he had been exposed to a certain extent because we are a huge Marvel house, but I said, "You're excited?" He's like, "Yeah, he looked like me." And I was like, "Wow." Like, holy shit. Like, that's great. So I was sitting there like putting like trying to put together the like run a show what that campaign looked like. Um and I said, "What I want to know what Black Panther means to other people because this is a huge moment culturally for Black kids that grew up reading comics, but people thought that we weren't nerds, right? We were excluded from those places. So I wanted to give the kids that grew up like me, that are the adults now, a chance to say what it means to see it come to fruition. And we all know it's not perfect, but I think we earned that. We earned that moment.
I think so too. I think even if it wasn't perfect, like I think it was so special. Um, just the moment it came out and just like everything that it was just like man, there were black people behind the scenes, there were black people like on the screen, and it's just like it just felt so like such a special moment. Yeah, I haven't watched it either since he passed because it's too sad. I did watch I think I caught Endgame on TV or something like that. I don't even remember how I was watching it. Maybe someone just had it on and I was just like, I can't even watch this right now. Like this is just too sad and it's heartbreaking. It's just really heartbreaking. But yeah, I haven't watched What If either. I've been waiting to like I can so when I can like really sit down and like be in my feelings and like enjoy it and appreciate it. I haven't watched his movie either. That came out on Netflix for similar reasons.
Ma Rainey's, yeah.
Yeah.
I started watching it and then I was like, I can't do this. And I turned it off. I was like, I cannot. I will watch it again later. So maybe, who knows, this weekend, maybe I would just rip off the band-aid and watch Black Panther and What If and then just have an Usagi day and just cry into my pillow.
Yes, definitely. And I also haven't seen The Five Bloods either. I was just like, nope, you're not gonna catch me out here. Like I'm not ready. But yeah, I think I might have to take you up on that too and follow your lead. Maybe do just a Chadwick Boseman day and just let all my emotions out throughout it all. But one thing I wouldn't say happy about, but like I'm really happy that he was able to see and like he got his flowers,
Yep.
and that makes me feel good.
And I will, like, I think that that's for me what really helped. It was like, listen, like we did the hashtag and we did what we had to do. It happened. Went viral, and he got to see what this meant to everybody, right across the board. So I can I can go to sleep at night knowing that we made sure that everyone in every aspect made sure that he knew that he was very well appreciated and loved.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say like you contributed in a major way to that with your hashtag and like social media is so powerful in ways like that. So shout out to you. Um, well, on a lighter note, what Amazon series would you recommend to well, first, we already talked about Evangelion. So what Amazon series would you recommend to Sailor Jupiter or Sailor Mars or Sailor Pluto?
Okay. For Sailor Jupiter, I would say she'd be the boys. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that.
It would be very much so her jam. Um, I think that she would be very much so and she would very much so love her some Queen Maeve. So yes, absolutely 100% that. For Ray is quite serious. So I would say Ray would like The Expanse. She would like to be able to like have that kind of escapism. So I think that would be very much so for her. And um for Pluto, what would she watch? Um, hmm, that one's tougher because like she's very unique. So I would maybe say series wise, what would we say she would watch? She might watch like she might come out of left field and like something like the marvelous Miss Maisel. I absolutely think Ludo. I
Ooh.
think she would absolutely have that as she seems like she would go for that. So I think that might be like her. You know, that would be her jam for sure.
Actually, like, since she's like all about like time travel and like time and space, I feel like she would appreciate the like period piece-ness of it, Like, it's like, oh, this show's set in the 50s and it's like kind of accurate and that makes sense. I think she would like it because it's such a good show. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I am. It is August, and I am counting down to Gilmore Girl rewatch, aka fall. So I
Ooh.
yeah I am one of those. So I Maisel, I it took me a minute, I will say, to get into it, but then I'm here. I'm in it now.
Yeah, there. It's just such a cute show and just so good and funny and so much heart. But yeah, I love it. I love
I'm an
it.
Alex Bornstein fan. Like
Mm.
I am like one of my things that I nerd out on the most is voice acting, and I think she is just so good at it. She's so good. And I've been obsessed with the way that she approaches voice acting, but then also I was a Mad TV kid, so I just think she's perfect in everything she does, even though, not everything she did was politically correct, but Mad TV was so great and I just loved her on it.
Yeah, I think that show is yeah. I think like you said, like it was of the time, but like it did good. I feel like it was good.
Yeah, they had some good
Um,
people come out of there. Between her and Deborah Wilson, they did okay. And then they had Key and Peele. So I mean, like,
mhm.
can you?
Yeah,
It was rough. It was politically rough, but I think they got the job done.
right. Yeah, they made it work. They definitely made it work. And then what's your favorite piece of anime merch that you own? Well, you kind of said you say like Jupiter Funko Pop. I mean, I don't want to assume.
Yes, I also have this really amazing like my Sailor Jupiter deck is probably my number one. But then um I also have a Kingdom Hearts Keyblade. I have a Lady Luck Keyblade that I'm very it is very hard to find that specific one. I um Most people know this about me. Outside of Sailor Moon, my favorite thing in the entire world is Alice in Wonderland. I've been obsessed since I was a kid. The first library book I never returned was Alice in Wonderland because I refused. I still have it. It is from Ware Elementary in Kansas from 1998.
That's so
Um,
funny.
I'm one of those people that buys different versions of the book if it's in a new cover. Um, but I am obsessed with Kingdom Hearts. Most people do know that. And Lady Luck is one of my favorite Keyblades. And I found it at a convention, and I almost cried. I was walking the show floor on the vendor floor and stopped at it. I was like, oh, they have a bunch of Keyblades. And I looked up and Lady Luck was right there. And I was like, I'm going to go pull out money from the ATM and I don't even care how much it's going to cost.
Love it. I love it. Have you heard of A Blade So Black by any chance?
Yes, and I own those.
Because
Anything
I
that
was
is
like,
like
it's
a
literally.
replication of Alice in Wonderland, I own. So I am obsessed with anything that applies it. I think that Lewis Carroll was way before his time, and the world he built through Alice and the Looking Glass and Wonderland was just phenomenal. And the way that we have been able to have multiple versions of it and it still not get old. I will say, and I will say it on this podcast, the only version of Alice in Wonderland I don't like is the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland.
Wow, that says a lot. And I'm not mad at it.
I think there are stronger versions, and if anyone wants to, there is an Alice in Wonderland that was a mini series on Hallmark, and it is absolutely wonderful. And it has I can't remember her name right now. The girl from Napoleon Dynamite and Karina. I can't remember her name, but she plays Alice.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Mhm.
Yes. It is really good. It's star studded. It has Gene Wilder. And it's got Whoopi Goldberg is the Cheshire Cat, but the way it's done is very true to the actual book and the Looking Glass part. So you get all of the pieces, and you get like the door, and you get getting through the door, and the riddle that have to get through the door. You get the Pepper and the Pig, and all of those things that are like deep cuts for Alice in Wonderland fans. So if I ever suggest anything Alice in Wonderland for anyone to watch, they can go watch it. You can actually go buy it on Prime Video because that's where I bought it years ago, and I was like, ooh, I could buy that. But I also love anything that does a mini series on a show. Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, those are my go-to's. But my Keyblade is my most prized possession outside of my Sailor Jupiter skateboard deck. I will probably never ride the skateboard. I know how to skateboard, but it's so beautiful and it's gorgeous. I cannot bring myself to do it.
Is it the primitive one?
Yes.
Oh my god, those were so pretty. And I wanted to get it too, but I also don't know how to skateboard. And I was like, I could just put it on my wall though. That's fine. I could just put it on my wall. But I was like, no, shouldn't get it.
Bought it and put it on their wall because I know like a few people bought the Sailor Moon one, and they were like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I would as soon as I saw it, I was like, "I'm gonna buy it." Like the hoodies and the jackets sold out so fast. I was like, as long as I get the deck, I'm fine.
Right. Yeah. No, it's so cool. And then I brought up first off, I need to watch that. And I looked it up. The actress's name is Tina Majorino.
Yes.
And all you had me at like Gene Wilder and Whoopi Goldberg. I was like, okay, I'm here for this because like Whoopi as Cheshire Cat seems perfect in my mind. For some reason, I thought Gene Wilder would be the Mad Hatter, but like I'm seeing he's Mock Turtle, so I think that's also really cool.
He sings the Mock Turtle song, which is one of my favorite poems from the book. It's so good, and it's very reminiscent of like Charlie and the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So I do love that. I It's really sad. I could go on, and this would be a separate podcast on different versions of Alice in Wonderland that you should watch. There's also an Alice that was on Sci-Fi. That was a series, like a mini series, and that had is it Katarina or Catherine? She's on Grey's Anatomy and she plays Amelia. She is Alice, and it's like it's modern and it's really fucking cool. Um, it's like basically gambling and underworld, but it gets very like in the weeds, and I suggest that one for people all the time too.
Love that. Yeah, I love when they make mini series more than like a movie or even a TV show because I feel like movies tend to like condense too much and a TV show tends to like stretch it out too much. It's like a mini series always feels perfect. Also last question. Did you ever watch Once Upon a Time?
Absolutely. And I watched Once Upon a Time in Wonderland and Sebastian Stan. I know people love him for Winter Soldier, but I love him because he was the Mad Hatter. Um,
That's so funny.
it's so good. But like, it's just one of those shows that was done so well, and it really brought a like series that really broadened the lens of what these stories are supposed to be, and going back and retelling them the right way. And I've always loved fairy tales, but the thing is like they're really dark. So like I remember being a teacher when I was like straight out of college, and I was like, oh, I want to read them grim fairy tales, but I can't read them that the stepsisters from Cinderella chop off their toe and their heel because that's what
Yeah.
really happens. And so I like being able to see the real stuff. And so that's why another mini series that's my favorite is 10th Kingdom. I will always suggest that to anyone that just has a weekend to kill and you want to watch something that's really good and you love fairy tales and you love just like kind of out there things that happen. It is really cool, and it takes like this girl. It almost pulls from Alice in Wonderland because she goes through a mirror. Um, but it's really good. It was a mini series. It was actually done on NBC, technically like a Hallmark one, and it's like 5 hours, but it was episodes, and it's really good. So I think that we're able to. I love being able to see the other side of it, which I think also ties back into why I love Sailor Moon because it's basically like a fairy tale, right? But we're seeing like the real world modern version of it.
Yeah, I can totally see that. It does give very fairy tale vibes for sure. Also just looked up 10th Kingdom. It looks awesome and it's on Pluto for free, so I will definitely be checking that out. And yeah, and also I brought up Blades of Black specifically because it's literally described as Alice in Wonderland meets Sailor Moon. So I was like, you should be all over this.
Oh, absolutely. When it came out, I was like, oh, everyone sent it to me. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And I bought it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, thank you for sending it.
That's so funny. Yeah, I feel the same way whenever like new Sailor Moon news is announced and there's like there's a new movie coming out and everyone's sending it to me and I'm like, I know, believe me, I am like at the epicenter of this. But but yeah, it's such a good book and Ella McKinney was on the show, so if anyone wants to listen to that episode, it is I think one of the earlier episodes. It's definitely before like one. It's either the second or the fourth episode. I want to say the second episode actually of the podcast.
She's just so great. I love following her um her tweets and her threads. I think they're great. So I think
Yeah.
she's very good at social.
She is very good at social and just like super interesting. And yeah, she also had like a hashtag. Oh, she had like what published no, not what publishing paid me or publishing paid me. I think that went viral. Created that, yeah, and just does amazing things and has a Juneteenth festival now, the book festival, and just yeah, just killing it. What advice would you give to someone who wants to become a social media manager, like enter the industry, or someone who's like very new to this world?
I would say with this industry, it's just being know your audience really, and be prepared to stand your ground. Especially with me, it's really I have to be the one in the room that says I know this, and I know this very well. This is what I do. I've lived it. I'm part of the fandom, so trust me. So be very firm and know your audience so that you can speak to it. That's the biggest thing. And work and go towards the things that make you happy. You're gonna work on a lot of things at first that don't like bring you joy. So find those things in your spare time um, that are things you can go to. Like I was a writer, I was freelance and critic and freelance social because my day job wasn't. It was a job. It was marketing, and I love marketing, but it wasn't the things that I love. So I always want to say try freelance out first and contracting because you can kind of set your own hours and have those not those corporate expectations. And if you feel like you want that corporate structure, then you can absolutely go after it.
I think that's such good advice because you can kind of like dip your toes, do a little bit, and see if you like it before making a full on, career change. You can say like, oh, let me like freelance for a bit, put hours in, maybe do it part time, and without having to like uproot and switch before you're ready. That's great advice. And then just like Sailor Moon had her, Sailor Moon says phrase at the end of every episode. What would your phrase be? So Sailor Kayla Marie says, or Sailor Kayla says. I don't know which one you prefer, but whichever one you want to go with.
Sailor Kayla Marie says, put socks on your feet before you catch a cold. That is my number one thing. I get so much, my friends give me so much crap about it because I always, if I'm on the phone, I yell at my son and I say, do you have house shoes or socks on your feet? And it is very much so a black mom thing, and I'm very well aware. So Kayla Marie would say, put some socks on your feet before you catch a cold.
I love that so much. I just love that that's being passed down because I get afraid sometimes that some like things that are very like black mom or black culture, doesn't get passed down through generations. So I'm happy that there are black moms out there still saying that.
Oh my mom to this day. I was sick last week, and you still hear it in my voice, but to this day, or are you wearing socks? Do you have house shoes when you're walking around the house? And I've just learned that I feel better when I do. I just very much so um, black mom that you could get sick. Take care of your feet. That's like the epicenter of everything. You have to stand on that. So cover your feet so you don't get sick, and wash your hands so you don't catch the Rona.
Yes, yeah, I love all of that. Also, you're giving me like I forgot what the word is, but confirmation because I bought socks today. I bought Ivy Park socks and I was like, I don't need socks. Like, why am I buying these? But they were so cute. And I was like, I'll find a reason to buy them. And now I feel like I'm gonna just wear them at home. Like, who says I have to go out and wear them? I can just wear them at home. I'm sure they're gonna be really comfortable. And now I'm like happy I bought them.
See, I love socks. I am a I love fandom socks too. I'm a big proponent of knee highs and thigh highs, and I love socks. So any chance that I can wear them, I do. And then I just love a good cushion sock. Sometimes you just want a good cushion sock, and you want to wear it while you're in bed, and you want to feel warm, you want to feel good. So yes, absolutely, wear your socks. You have
Yeah.
confirmation for me.
And I'm loving the sock conversation, by the way, because I also really love like fuzzy socks, and I also like love fandom socks. Like I have so many Sailor Moon socks. I went like ham one day because I think Hot Topic had a bunch, and there was this other random site that I came across that had a bunch, and I was just like, I'm buying all the Sailor Moon socks right now. Plus, like just fuzzy socks are just really cute and comfy. So yeah, I'm on board with this sock propaganda.
I have friends that are going to listen to this and hate me. It's fine.
you know? But they'll know, and then hopefully they'll be inspired to wear socks and they won't catch colds, or they'll catch less colds, and their feet will be comfortable. You're right, we should take better care of our feet.
Always take better care.
Hmm. It's so true. I like love it. And then what's next for you, and where can people find you?
Next for me, I wish I could talk about all the fun, cool stuff at work, but you'll hear about them very, very soon. Um, just coming off Evangelion, but I'm working on some really, really cool stuff that, like, if you just stay tuned on my social, you can find me at Maria underscore Giesela on Twitter, and then it's Maria underscore Giesela on Instagram. I will be posting all types of cool things right now. We're doing some really cool stuff with the boys this week because Emmy noms, and I'm new to the team, but I am such a huge fan of the boys, and I'm so proud and like just honored to work on it. And I think if you go over to theboystv.com, sorry, if you go to at the boys TV on Instagram, you'll see all the cool stuff that went down this week. All kinds of irreverent, fuck soup stuff. And I think we earned a really cool position. I think people were not expecting us to get nominated, and look at us, we did it. So I have all kinds of cool things coming. And my podcast, Itu Banta También, will more than likely be ramping right back up because Star Wars Visions, we're super excited. Like, the anime nerd and Star Wars nerd in me is combined right now. So be on the lookout for some podcast episodes coming pretty soon.
Love it. I am so excited for all of those things, and it will be definitely, I mean, I already follow you, so I'll be definitely looking out for all the exciting things happening, because Amazon Studios, Amazon Prime Video has been having some heat for a while. Like that was like the social, not the social, the streaming platform I was like going to most consistently. So it was like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, The Boys, and I forgot, Hannah was really good. It was just like a bunch of shows, like so many good things.
Panic. I mean, we got it all. We're all across the board.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh, and Sneaky Pete. Yeah, I was just like, I was on an Amazon kick for a little bit, and I'm probably gonna get back on it because I need to catch up on The Boys actually. But yeah, it was so great talking to you. Thank you for coming on the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm such a huge fan, and like continue to do all the amazing things you're doing in this space because I just we're allowed to be anime fans and like sparkly things, and I think that that is absolutely fine. And I love that you're just doing the damn thing. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, now I gotta be like sad and humble and like feel like but but yeah, thank you so much. And it's definitely great to just like nerd out with about Sailor Moon with amazing people. So appreciate you for coming on. And yeah, and once again, I'm Victoria L. Johnson, host of the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast. You can find us on all podcast streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And you can also, if you can, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. And or comment, that would be really great too. You can find me at Miss Old School on Twitter and Instagram. That's Old School with a K. You can find the podcast at Moonies Club on Twitter and Moonies_Club on Instagram. And we have merch if you want some Mooney merch. We have Mooney merch at mooniesclub.com. That's it. Thanks for listening, Moonies. Bye.